The text message on his phone made my blood turn to ice. Can't wait to see you tonight, baby. Room 237 at the Marriott. We're that thing I like. My name is Lisa Chen. I am 38 years old. And I was about to give my cheating husband a taste of his own medicine. I stared at Jake's phone lying on the kitchen counter where he had left it while taking a shower. The message was from someone named Crystal. Not the first message from her I had seen. Not even the 10th. For 6 months I had been finding evidence of his affair. Receipts for dinners I never ate. Hotel charges on our credit card for nights he claimed to be working late. Perfume on his shirts that smelled nothing like mine. When I confronted him the first time, he looked me straight in the eye and lied. Lisa, you're being paranoid. Crystal is just a client. We had a business dinner. A business dinner that cost $300 and lasted until 2 in the morning? She's an important client. These things take time. The second time I found evidence, he got angry. Why are you going through my things? Don't you trust me? After 12 years of marriage, this is what we've come to. He turned it around on me like he always did. Made me feel guilty for being suspicious. Made me doubt what I was seeing with my own eyes. The third time he just shrugged. I don't know what you want me to say, Lisa. I'm not having an affair. If you don't believe me, that's your problem. That was when I decided to stop being the victim and start being the predator. Jake thought he was smart. Thought he could play games with my heart and my sanity. Thought he could make me feel crazy while he ran around with some 25-year-old secretary from his office. But Jake forgot one important thing about me. I used to work in marketing before I gave up my career to support his. I knew how to create a story. How to plant evidence. How to make someone believe exactly what I wanted them to believe. If Jake wanted to play games, I would show him how the game was really played. The plan started simple. I bought a cheap burner phone and started texting myself. Messages that would look suspicious if Jake happened to see them. Missing you already. Tonight was incredible. When can we be together again? I saved the contact under the name Mike, and made sure to leave the phone where Jake might accidentally see it. On the coffee table when I went to make dinner. On my nightstand when I went to shower. At first he didn't notice. Or if he did, he didn't care. He was too busy with his own secret romance to pay attention to his wife's suspicious behavior. So I escalated. I started coming home late from work. Nothing dramatic, just 30 minutes here and there. When Jake asked where I had been, I would smile mysteriously. Just stopped somewhere on the way home. Where? Nowhere important. The vague answers drove him crazy. I could see the wheels turning in his head, trying to figure out what I was hiding. Next, I started paying more attention to my appearance. New clothes. New perfume. A new haircut that made me look younger and more attractive. You look nice, Jake said one morning as I got ready for work. Thank you, I said, not explaining why I was suddenly putting effort into how I looked. The truth was, I was putting effort in for me. For the first time in years, I was taking care of myself instead of taking care of everyone else. Felt good to look in the mirror and like what I saw. But Jake didn't know that. All he saw was his wife suddenly acting different. Mysterious. Independent. I started taking phone calls in private. Nothing important, just conversations with my sister or my friend Maria. But I would answer the phone and walk into another room, closing the door behind me. Who was that? Jake would ask when I came back. No one special. No one special doesn't mean nothing. Who are you talking to? Just a friend. I could see the paranoia starting to build in his eyes. The same paranoia I had lived with for months while he was sneaking around with Crystal. 2 weeks into my plan, I left a receipt on the dresser. Dinner for 2 at an expensive restaurant downtown. A restaurant Jake and I had never been to together. He found it that evening while I was downstairs watching TV. Lisa, what's this? He came down the stairs holding the receipt. I glanced at it casually. What's what? This receipt. For Romano's. You had dinner there yesterday. Oh, that. Yes. With who? A friend. What friend? Does it matter? The conversation was almost identical to ones we had about his mysterious dinner receipts. But now the shoe was on the other foot and Jake didn't like how it felt. Of course it matters. You're my wife. I should know who you're having expensive dinners with. I almost laughed out loud. This from the man who had been having expensive dinners with his secretary for months. He was just a friend, Jake. Nothing for you to worry about. But he was worrying. I could see it in the way he started watching me more carefully. The way he checked my phone when he thought I wasn't looking. The way he asked more questions about where I was going and who I was seeing. Welcome to my world, I thought. Now you know how it feels. I kept the pressure building slowly. A new gym membership that I actually used, telling Jake I was working out with a trainer. The trainer's name was Mike, same as the fake contact in my phone. You're spending a lot of time at the gym, Jake observed one evening. I'm trying to get in shape. Is that a problem? No, it's just, you never cared about the gym before. People change, Jake. Sometimes they realize they deserve better than what they've been settling for. The comment hit home. I could see it in his face. I started working late occasionally, the same way he had been doing for months. When Jake called to ask when I would be home, I would sound distracted. I'm not sure. I have some things to finish up here. What kind of things? Work things. You wouldn't understand. Another echo of conversations we had about his late nights. Another taste of his own medicine. The burner phone became my favorite prop. I would let it buzz during dinner and excuse myself to answer it. Hello, I would say, walking into the kitchen. Then I would have a fake conversation with no one. I can't talk right now. I know, I miss you too. Maybe tomorrow. I'll call you later. Jake started asking who kept calling me. Just someone from work, I would say. Someone from work calls you at 8 o'clock at night? Sometimes work doesn't end at 5, Jake. You should know that. Another comment that landed like a slap. He knew it because he had been using the same excuse for months. 3 weeks into my plan, I bought myself expensive lingerie. Not for any man, but because it made me feel confident and beautiful. I left the shopping bag where Jake would see it. What's this? He asked, holding up the Victoria's Secret bag. Underwear. Pretty fancy underwear. I felt like treating myself. For any special occasion? Do I need a special occasion to buy nice things for myself? But Jake's mind was already spinning. New clothes, new perfume, mysterious phone calls, expensive dinners, and now sexy lingerie. In his guilty conscience, it all added up to one thing. His wife was having an affair. The irony was delicious. For months I had been living with the knowledge that my husband was cheating on me. Now he was living with the suspicion that I was cheating on him. Except I wasn't. Everything I was doing was completely innocent. The dinner receipt was from a meal with my sister. The phone calls were to friends and family. The gym membership was real and I was actually getting in great shape. But Jake didn't know that. His own guilt was making him see betrayal everywhere he looked. I could have felt sorry for him. But every time I started to soften, I would remember the hotel receipts. The lies. The months of gaslighting when he made me feel crazy for seeing what was right in front of my eyes. A month into my plan, Jake started following me. I would catch glimpses of his car in my rearview mirror when I went to the grocery store or to meet friends for coffee. One evening I confronted him about it. Were you following me today? No. Why would I follow you? I saw your car behind me on Maple Street. I was running errands. It's a coincidence. The same kind of lies he had been telling me for months. But now he was the one doing the following and the lying. I decided to give him something to really follow. I drove to a hotel downtown and parked in the lot for an hour. I sat in my car reading a book, but from Jake's perspective it would look like I was waiting for someone. He must have been watching because that night he was more suspicious than ever. Where did you go after work today? A few places. Why? I'm just curious about your day. Are you checking up on me, Jake? Should I be? The question hung in the air between us. For months he had been asking me to trust him while he was actively betraying that trust. Now he was wondering if he should trust me. I let him wonder. 6 weeks into my plan, I decided it was time for the final act. I printed out fake text messages between me and the imaginary Mike. Messages that suggested a romantic relationship. Can't stop thinking about yesterday. You make me feel alive again. I think I'm falling for you. I left the printouts in my purse where Jake would find them when he inevitably went through my things, which he did 2 days later. The confrontation came on a Thursday evening. I was making dinner when Jake stormed into the kitchen holding the fake text messages. "What the hell are these?" he demanded, his face red with anger. I glanced at the papers and kept stirring the sauce. "Those look like text messages." "Don't play dumb with me, Lisa. Who is Mike? How long has this been going on?" For a moment I almost felt sorry for him. He looked genuinely hurt and betrayed. But then I remembered how I had felt when I found his real messages from Crystal. "How long has what been going on?" I asked innocently. "Your affair. These messages prove you're cheating on me." I turned off the stove and looked at him calmly. "Is that what you think?" "I know that's what's happening. The late nights, the mysterious phone calls, the new clothes, the hotel visits. You're having an affair with someone named Mike." Jake was breathing hard, his hands shaking with rage and hurt. He looked like a man whose world was falling apart. Just like I had looked 6 months ago when I found his first hotel receipt. "So what if I am?" I said quietly. The words hit him like a physical blow. He actually staggered backward. "So what if you are? We're married. We've been together for 12 years. How can you stand there and act like this doesn't matter? The same way you acted when I confronted you about Crystal." His face went white. "What?" "Crystal from your office. Room 237 at the Marriott. The woman you've been seeing for 6 months." Jake's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Sure you don't. Just like you didn't know about the dinner receipts or the hotel charges or the perfume on your shirts." "Lisa, I can explain." "Explain what?" "How you've been lying to me for months. How you made me feel crazy for seeing what was right in front of my eyes. How you turned every conversation around to make me feel guilty for not trusting you." Jake sat down heavily at the kitchen table. "You know about Crystal." "I've known for months. I tried to talk to you about it, but you just kept lying." "So you decided to cheat on me too?" I started laughing. I couldn't help it. The whole situation was so absurd. "Cheat on you?" "Jake, I'm not cheating on you. But the messages are fake. I wrote them myself. The hotel visits. I sat in the parking lot reading a book. The dinner receipts. Dinner with my sister. The phone calls. Friends and family." Jake stared at me in confusion. "But why?" I reached into the drawer and pulled out the divorce papers I had been keeping there for 2 weeks. "Because I wanted you to know how it feels," I said, sliding the papers across the table to him. "I wanted you to experience the paranoia, the suspicion, the constant wondering what your spouse is really doing." Jake looked down at the divorce papers with his name already filled in. "You're divorcing me? I filed 2 weeks ago. You've been served. But Lisa, we can work this out. If you're not really having an affair." "The affair isn't the problem, Jake. The lying is the problem. The disrespect is the problem. The fact that you could look me in the eye and make me feel crazy while you were cheating on me is the problem. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Every day for 6 months you chose to lie to me. You chose to betray our marriage. You chose Crystal over me." Jake put his head in his hands. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It didn't mean anything. She doesn't mean anything. But I should mean something. After 12 years of marriage, I should mean enough for you to be faithful to me. I should mean enough for you to tell me the truth. You do mean something. You mean everything. Then why wasn't I enough?" It was the question that had been eating at me for months. Why wasn't I enough to keep my husband faithful? What was missing in me that he had to find in another woman? Jake looked up at me with tears in his eyes. "You are enough. You were always enough. I was stupid. I was selfish. I thought I could have both. Well, now you have neither." The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Jake tried to fight it at first, but his lawyer explained that adultery made his case pretty hopeless. Crystal left him before the divorce was even final. Apparently, she wasn't interested in a relationship with a soon-to-be divorced man who couldn't afford to take her to expensive restaurants anymore. I kept the house. Jake moved into a small apartment across town. He tried calling me several times, wanting to talk, wanting another chance. I never answered. My friends asked if I felt bad about the fake affair scheme, if I thought it was too cruel. He lived with paranoia and suspicion for 6 weeks. I told them. I lived with it for 6 months. He experienced a fake betrayal. I experienced a real one. If anything, I was too kind. The truth is, those 6 weeks when I was pretending to have an affair were some of the best weeks I had in years. Not because I was hurting Jake, but because I was finally taking care of myself. I was going to the gym and getting strong. I was buying clothes that made me feel beautiful. I was spending time with friends and family who actually cared about me. I was remembering who I used to be before I became someone who accepted being lied to and disrespected. The fake affair was just a game, but the self-respect was real. The confidence was real. The realization that I deserved better was real. 6 months after our divorce was final, I ran into Jake at the grocery store. He looked tired and older. The stress of the divorce and losing everything had taken its toll. "Lisa," he said, his voice hopeful. "How are you?" "I'm good, Jake. Really good." And I had started dating again, but I was taking it slow. Learning to trust my instincts. Learning to demand honesty from the beginning instead of accepting excuses and lies. "I've been thinking about us a lot," Jake said. "About what we had. Maybe we could try again. Start over." "We don't have anything anymore, Jake. We haven't had anything for a long time. But we were good together once." Once. But once isn't enough to build a future on. I left him standing there in the frozen food aisle and walked away. The fake affair was just a game to show Jake how his betrayal felt. But the real victory was discovering that I didn't need him to be happy. I didn't need anyone to lie to me, cheat on me, or make me feel small. I needed someone who would choose me every day the same way I would choose them. Jake had his chance to be that person for 12 years. He chose Crystal instead. Now I was choosing myself. And that choice felt better than any revenge ever could. The taste of his own medicine was bitter. But the taste of freedom was sweet. Thank you for watching. If this story was an interesting one, please like this video and leave a comment. Also, do not forget to support this channel for more of these stories coming your way on a daily basis. Thank you.